being conditioned, for example, by people who have been very judgmental in the past, and just seeing those kinds of that kind of behavior, and then just noticing all the time judgment related thoughts towards other people, maybe situations, and things like that. I just feel that where is that kind of subtle difference? But at the same time, sometimes it feels a little bit like Neo-Advaita, where you just leave it and okay, well,
No, no.
anxiety.
It's one thing to say, to recognize that the personal conditioning of each of our minds is not simply the product of each of our minds. For instance, your mind is conditioned to speak English. You were conditioned by your culture to speak English. So the fact that you speak English is not a product, you are not personally responsible for the fact that you speak English. You were conditioned by something that is much bigger than your own mind to speak English, although the fact that you speak English is a personal conditioning of your mind. You don't speak Chinese, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for all the conditioning of all of our minds. The separate self is an impersonal conditioning. We have been conditioned by our parents, our communities, our nations. We have been conditioned to believe and feel we are separate selves, and we are not personally responsible for feeling that we are personal people, for feeling that we are separate selves. It is the ego is an impersonal conditioning. It's one thing to recognize that. It's quite another thing to say there is nothing you can do about it. There's nobody here. There's nothing to do. Don't explore your experience. Don't. That's what Neo-Advaita says. So I acknowledge that there is nobody who is personally responsible for their personal conditioning. Conditioning is impersonal. However, I do think that at, at the relative level, at anything apart from the absolute level, that there is something to be done. What is there to be done to explore our experience?
But so that isn't to work on it, but
No,
it's
you're not working on the contrary. You would only have to work on yourself or on your experience if you were something other than the presence of awareness, and you needed to become the presence of awareness. That would be hard work. But that is why what we do here is not really a practice or an effort or a discipline. It is more about a recognition of what we already and always are, but have simply failed to notice because of our because we are lost in the content of our experience.
so as this automatic conditioning comes up, and I see it, like I don't try to change it. I just see what happens, like every time that it comes up.
When you say I see this conditioning or I see what happens, tell us about the I that sees this conditioning or the I that sees what happens.
Well, the eye is aware. It's
Good.
not
Tell
it's
us
not
more.
objective.
Yeah, perfect. Tell us more.
It's it's not located in time or space.
Yes, tell us more. Perfect.
Um, it's let's see, it's not located in time or space. It's not doesn't it doesn't know it, like it doesn't know itself as an object.
Yes.
It's it's not limited by
Tell us something a little bit more simple about it. What is its nature? Not too philosophical.
just to know, just to be aware.
Yes, but if you had to give it a quality, a feeling quality, not a philosophical quality, when you say it's not in time and space, you're absolutely right, Julia. It's not, but that is philosophical. It's true, and nothing against that. But I want you to, if you were to, it doesn't feel awareness doesn't feel like anything. But if you were to give it a feeling tone, how would you describe it in terms of a feeling?
I mean, I know how I would describe it, but
How do you describe it now when you say, I am aware of my conditioning? What is the nature of that which is aware of your conditioning?
I feel like underneath the conditioning, there is a lot of, peace and love.
Perfect.
But
Exactly. It's peaceful. That's what I want you to say.
but
I
there's
just,
so much masking it that I can't even say
I'm not interested in, you see, you don't go back. What masks it is the conditioning. I'm not interested in that. That's just the movie that is playing on the screen. Don't you go, you see how quickly you go back to the conditioning. You briefly say the awareness that is aware of this conditioning is peaceful and ever present, and then you go straight back to the conditioning about the problems, everything that's masking it. Is the image of my face masking the screen or not? Are you seeing the screen now or not?
no, yeah, definitely am seeing the screen.
And, and
I just
now,
feel
are you seeing the screen now or not?
yes.
That does the black image mask the screen?
No, it does not unless you forget about that.
Well, and unless you think that it does, and if you think that it does, it will seem to mask the screen. Well, the black image that you're seeing now is like the feeling of depression. The feeling of depression feels like a thick, dark blanket over the light of awareness. But it is not. Just as the black image is shining with the presence of the screen, so even the experience of a deep depression is shining with the light of awareness. Nothing masks, no experience masks awareness, because all there is to experience is the awareness of it. Just like no movie veils a screen, because all there is to a movie is the screen. So when you go back, when you say, oh, but my conditioning masks the presence of awareness, there you're slipping back into an old habit. It's an old belief system. If you believe that, that's how it will seem to be. Just stop believing that. How do you stop believing that? By seeing that it is not true. How do you stop believing that the black image veils the screen? By seeing that when you see the black image, you are still seeing the screen. In other words, it is understanding that enables you to stop believing that your conditioning masks the peace and happiness that are inherent in your own being.
And that's where you say you bring it so close that you can no longer separate yourself out from it, and so in
No,
the hence it
don't go there,
transforms.
Julia. You're complicating it. That don't. That's a different. Just now, see that
Yeah,
your experience now is shining with the knowing of it. Yes.
right.
Is there anything to your experience now other than the knowing of it?
No,
Is there ever anything to your experience, however wonderful or awful your experience may be, other than the knowing of it?
no.
That's it. Your knowing, pure consciousness shines brightly in all experience equally. Simply cease giving your experience permission to veil awareness, and it will cease seeming to do so. That's all.
So
Don't
meaning,
touch your experience. It
so
would
meaning
only
peace
be.
and depression coexist together in a sense in that way, is what you're saying.
Can the screen and the image coexist, and the black image coexist?
Well, they are one, yeah, they are one and the same.
They are one. Yeah. So the the depression is it's an apparent veiling of our true nature, just as the black image
Right.
is an apparent veiling, but not a real veiling of the screen. So if we feel this despair or depression, it's just because we have lost touch with the piece of our true nature. And all we need to do then is trace our way back from the feeling to our being, which lies, so to speak, just behind the feeling.
Right. Meaning that to transform it is to bring it close. Like that's what I was trying to ask.
Don't think
That's
of
different.
transforming it. Don't try to transform the feeling.
Okay.
It is already made out of happiness.
Okay.
Feelings do not need to be transformed. The black image does not need to be transformed into the screen, the transparent screen. It is already simply a temporary coloring of the transparent screen.
Okay.
Feelings are simply temporary colorings of the light of your being.